Hello, beautiful people. Carl here from Games, Brains, and a Headbanging Life. gbhblofficial for short. This world is not my home. I'm just passing through. My treasures are laid up somewhere beyond the blue. The angels beckon me from heaven's open door, and I can't feel at home in this world anymore. I have a lot of highlights from Damnation Festival, a lot. But that is up there. Oh my goodness me, that was up there. The opening to Conjure, starting with Unself. I was almost in tears. That was staggeringly beautiful. I don't know why I didn't think that would be an obviously start to their set. But it's an incredible song, a great introduction, and just kick-started an absolutely phenomenal set for one of the best bands of the entire weekend. And as of the time of this recording, they're playing in London tomorrow, and I'm super excited to go see them. Even if right now, if I'm honest, I don't want to move ever again. It is Tuesday afternoon. I've just got in from work maybe half an hour ago. Got changed, had a ham and cheese sandwich, said hello to the cats, who obviously wanted to say hello to me then because I had ham. And now I'm sitting here. Planning to talk to you about Damnation. I've ummed and ahed about what I wanted to do in regards to Damnation this year, because obviously, there's a punter. There's no press related to me at Damnation, us at Damnation. If you saw me and you ran into me, you'd have seen me with my wife. Just there to hang out and just have fun. But, we write and we talk and we do all these things. And, I want to do something in regards to review, post-festival review, just because, hey, it's good for the site, of course. I hope some of you are interested in what I've got to say and the things I've got to share with you. But also, I love the festival and I love this weekend that I want to just offer and say to you, this is why you should come next year. This is why you should have picked up a ticket already, and this is why you really shouldn't wait too long on what is fast becoming one of the UK's finest festivals as well. It's pretty freaking close to perfect, I thought about doing like the good, the bad, and the ugly, but the reality of it is I was just going to struggle with things that were bad, and the things that were ugly were really, really minor. It was just going to be constant praise. Obviously, nothing's perfect. There are little things that I think could be improved here and there, and I might mention to some of that as we go on. But overall, this is as close to perfect outside of it not taking place in London. I know, selfish Londoners. But there you go. Having to travel to Manchester for a 2-day festival? How dare you? No, we actually really like coming to Manchester. We never really have any reason to travel to cities like that when you're in London and all the gigs come to you. So it's cool to travel to Manchester. Train trip up was nice and easy. Well, actually, you know what? I'll run you down the way up and maybe the way down and all the bits in between, and that's kind of how I'm going to structure this. And then obviously with each day, basically day by day, and then talking about the band and other things that went on, because I've got happily a pretty good memory of the weekend as a whole. I remember mostly everyone I spoke to, all the bands, and I saw there's little blurs here and there, particularly in the later evening part of Saturday. But for the most part, I remember what I did, which is nice, isn't it? Although that's come with some regret. I know I'm not as young as I used to be. I know I'm on the sharper end of 41 now as well. So, I can't bounce back like I used to. I don't think that's going to be too much of a surprise for anyone in my age group. When it comes to drinking and partying and just all of that, you just can't bounce back like you used to. I tend to now get severe hangovers for a day and a half. What I've noticed is happening, and I've tried to identify this, and I'm going to try and change some parts of my what I'm doing going forward, just because I don't like this part. But what's happening is, I slept pretty poorly Sunday night, even though we wrapped up early and went back to the hotel room and drank water and had some food and been really sensible. It's still, the whole weekend took its toll. I didn't sleep very well Sunday night, so I woke up Monday feeling pretty rough. Train journey was all fine and stuff like that, but by the time we got home on Monday afternoon, it was probably just gone 3 o'clock. I was ready for bed. All I wanted to do was get into bed and just not do anything, which I found really frustrating because effectively it wasted a day, because that's basically what we did. And I didn't even want to talk to anyone. I put my snooze band on And then I was just like, I'm going to sit on my phone and I'm going to watch videos, and that's all I'm going to do. And it was like, that was just nice, but like it felt like such a waste and left me feeling very frustrated, particularly as I had to go back to work today. And then I didn't sleep well last night either. I was overheated, I felt a bit rough, and so when I woke up for work this morning, I'm just like, oh my god, what is going on? I'm never drinking again and all that nonsense. It's not specifically to do with drinking, although there are things about that I've identified that I'm going to change going forward. I think, I've said to you guys before, you folks before, that like, I'm not like a heavy drinker. Like, I don't drink at home. I only really drink in social situations, but when I do drink in social situations, I don't exactly hold back. But I basically, I think I've clocked a little thing that I've been doing that I think I should stop. I know this is off topic and not about Damnation, but it's just reflections on how can I make my experience at something like Damnation better next time. Because always things you do wrong and you can learn from, use Bloodstock as an example, another festival we frequent every year. Don't go hard on a Thursday. We tell you that every year, and mostly fail ourselves at the time. But it's just things we've learned over the years. And there's stuff we've learned about Damnation over the last, this is our second in Manchester. This was our second in Manchester and third overall. And already we learned the lesson this year about something we did last year that we thought, no, that wasn't a good idea. Let's change that. So that was like last year we stayed well out of the city centre thinking we were being clever. And we weren't. We really weren't. Okay, it was a cheaper hotel, but we ended up deciding it was worth paying a bit more to stay in. So we did that this year, but didn't quite get it right either. The hotel choice was fine. It was fine, and it was very centre, but we still were like, I could do this a little bit better, and that's what we're kind of looking at next year as well. Basically, we've got to the stage where we're like, there's Manchester Piccadilly, and there's a hotel. That's where we're going to be fucking going next time. We get how to use trams, we get all of that, and we get like the BECs in like little things, little tricks to get around and to get comfortable and stuff like that. But I'll get more into that as we go on, because I think there were some things that were different this year. It was busier. It was busier overall. We'll get to some of that where I think there are some negatives. But sometimes I don't think it'd be helped, because obviously on Sunday it was pretty miserable and raining a fair bit, which kind of obviously forces people inside rather than standing outside. Saturday was lovely, wasn't it? I mean, it was cool, it wasn't cold. You put a hoodie on or a jacket, you could stand outside comfortably, and people were having a fucking good time. I have better, happier memories of Saturday than I do on Sunday, but there's another reason behind that as well. Nothing negative, just more of a personal sort of thing. There's a point, I'll tell you, there was a point on Sunday, right, where if you'd said to me, here's a cup of hot chocolate, there's a comfy bed, go have some sleep and just see how you feel later on, I probably would have taken up an offer. I think, God, it was an early afternoon and I was standing there and I was just like, I don't know if I could do this day. My legs hurt, my feet hurt. I don't feel very lively. I don't feel very, friendly. I thought I must have probably looked miserable if you came across me at that point. And then me and my wife, we spoke, we talk about things like this, and they're like, look, I'm feeling this way. How are you feeling? And she's kind of feeling the same. And then we're like, okay, well, if we go back, will we sleep? If we go back, we're like, we're thinking, all right, look, let's go back to the hotel room, put our heads down for an hour or two, and that'll help us out. But then we're like, okay, by the time we get back there, it'll be this, that, whatever. And I can fall asleep easily. I don't struggle with things like that, but she does. And she made the point that if we go back, I might fall asleep, but she won't. And then she's like, well, also, you're going to wake up and you're just going to feel groggy. And then you're going to be like, we had a good time on Saturday. Why go all over? And she was right. So we sort of we'll stay and we'll see how we do. And by chance, credit to some of these bands, by chance, we would end up watching a band shortly afterwards that, I don't know, that and a nice drink I think I had around that time really gave me a burst of energy. And we did 2 bands in a row that was so fucking good. It kind of got us through the end of that festival, But yeah, there's lots of things in regards to sort of not stupid, but just mistakes around drinking and the experience of how it affects what I'm doing at festivals that I really want to change. Really, I had the journey home on the train. I was sitting there watching. I should have used that time to write. But I couldn't be bothered. So I ended up watching Blade Runner 2049 on my phone and just thinking about like, and I know it's like post-hangover blues and you're just like, oh, and everyone after a hangover feels like such shit they never want to do it again. That's not what I'm saying. I like a drink and I like the social aspects of drinking. And, I don't consider myself I don't have a problem in that regard. But I do think I can do things better. I can change certain aspects of my behavior that I would enjoy things like Damnation, to some degree. Around, oh God, it was early afternoon on Saturday, over by the blue cubicles, you know the ones near when you're coming in, there was a big pile of vomit. I remember seeing it and thinking, oh mate, that must fucking suck. Now I'm presuming, of course, that person puked up because they'd already drank too much. And I'm thinking, God almighty, like imagine that already kind of thing. But reality is it could have been for a number of different reasons. But if it was drink related, like, oh, I don't want to ever like get like that, like where it's like literally 2-3 in the afternoon, I'm already so fucked that I can't enjoy myself. So me and the wife, we discussed a few things that we've talked about in the past that we've slowly been changing, as we're getting older and all that. We're trying not to eat food late at night now because of the issue with salt and how it dries my mouth out, and which then that's a major part of sleep just being disturbed as well. To like, particularly when it comes to one dayers or festivals like this, just like starting later in the day drink wise. Not that like, I rocked up and was like, yeah, it's 11:30, pour me that pint. But it was a point where we were walking around, I think it was like 11:45, and we were just getting like ready to go in and watch Devastator, and we were like, should we get a drink? Is it too early? Because you're feeling good on that Saturday, like, you know what? Let's have one and then drink some water. And I drank a shit ton of water on wet. That's one of the, it's crazy, like fucking 41, and this was stuff I didn't do, but like I never used to drink as much water as I do now. Now I try to drink water after almost every drink, or at least after every two. It's things like that where I've tried to improve. But the point of all of this is, post-Damnation, I'm still feeling rough as shit. And that inevitably almost makes me, like, it's a negative against the festival. Even though it's not its fault. But it's like, that's what it does. You're like, did I really have a good time at Damnation if I've then felt shit for 2 days afterwards? And, like, part of that comes from the strain on the body. Like, we added it up based off my Apple Watch data, nearly 30 miles. 30 miles over the weekend. Now, something to take down account is our Friday, is what we did on Friday, where we walked nearly 10 miles. And then we did like 9 on Saturday, and then a nearly 11 on Sunday. I don't even know how the hell we did the most on Sunday, considering how little I wanted to move, but we somehow did it. All of that takes its fucking toll when you're not used to doing that much and standing for like, well, we were getting there pretty much just after the doors opening. I think the latest we got there on Sunday was nearer 10 to 12, whereas on Saturday I think we were in by 11:30. But from that point, so Saturday, we were there up until Corrosion started, a couple of songs into Corrosion, so probably about 11:20 at night. So you're talking about 12 hours plus, because we'd gotten up and had breakfast as well on our feet. And then we're doing the same on a Sunday. No wonder it takes us toll. You almost like, you got to tell yourself, don't be too hard, don't be too hard on yourself about how shitty you feel. I have enjoyed sort of trawling the Damnation forum, just to realise that I'm not the only one. My God, is it slightly pleasurable to sort of see other people going, I am suffering. And some people went back to work on fucking Monday, let alone me going back on Tuesday morning. But yeah, like I hope with all my heart that you are feeling better. We'll get there. And like I said, maybe just do what I'm sort of suggesting there as well. Like, look at little things about tweaking how your experience can be made better. Do you need to eat more? Do you need to balance what you're eating, what you're taking? Do you need to, cut down on the drink, blah, blah, blah. All these little things that can make the experience better. Because normally you don't want to, I can't think of anything worse, right? And this has happened. I have festivals I've been to where big swaths of them are kind of just blank. I hate that so much now. But yeah, sort of look at it from that point of view. Do you want to go to these things and just not remember anything and have that post fucking cringe where you're like, oh God, did I say or do anything stupid? Stuff like that. It's like, it's just that. Just a reflection from me on Damnation as a whole and what I think, like, to make it a better experience for myself. And it applies to like all festivals as well. And gigs in general. I'm a good boy for the most part, but man, oh man, when I'm let off the loose, it can go a bit crazy. all of this will be nonsense. It'll be literally Peep Show fucking next time, and I'm just screaming, I just want to suck and fuck while drinking as much as I possibly can. But yeah, I'm going to try. Because I had such a great time at Damnation that I want to reflect on it in such a positive way. And I do. I really, really do. As I said already, it's up there as one of my favourite now. The whole experience just feels so wholesome. It's so cool. Everyone is so friendly. I didn't run into anyone that was a dick. You know, like, in fact, like, some of my best memories of this past weekend is just hanging out with people. I don't want to start, like, listing off names and stuff like that because, like, I don't want to forget anybody. But yeah, there was some really, really cool people who obviously I've met before and stuff like that, you know, but it's really, really cool just to see them again and talk to them for a bit, you know, even though everybody's quite high-strung and drunk and just like, I guess overwhelmed as well with just a pure reunion factor of it. But there's an opportunity as well this time to meet new people. People I'd like over the last, say, year or so, I'd got friendly with online, either through the site connection or just my own connections and stuff like that. And it was an opportunity to sort of meet and chat to them briefly, often a lot of the time. But still, it was very, very cool. You know, a lot of people I like and respect. That's an important part of things as well. It's just fun. It was just fun. Particularly when you sort of run into me again on Sunday and everybody's a little worse for wear too. Ah, the joys, eh? But yeah, it was really, really cool. There was a couple of dudes, a couple of folks who came up to me who I didn't know in any way, shape or form, but knew me kind of, well, knew me from either the videos or the website and stuff like that, and said like, oh, you know, they watched the stuff or I've watched some videos here and there, and we're just like, yeah, it's cool. I didn't even know. I genuinely don't know how to act in those situations except to say thank you. Even now I'm like, that is so overwhelming. You have no idea how much that means to me. I can't put into words how much it means to me, that you would recognize my stupid face from these videos or have listened and thought, okay, that's cool what he said, or you just have an opinion that's like that you feel like you want to share. I really do appreciate it. I'm not always the most socially comfortable in these scenarios. I'm better than I used to be, a lot better than I used to be, but I'm not always the best at it. So if you're thinking, oh, I don't think I came across rude or anything like that. I was very grateful to everyone, to the fellas that who said that to me. But yeah, I'm not always the most, like, you know, like charismatically socially, you know, up there person to kind of maybe give you, like, I don't know, the best impression. But it was such a pleasure to speak to you, and yeah, thank you for that. Thank you. It really does mean a lot to me. But just like the same, like with you know, if you were in bands and we chatted briefly and you remembered me, the ones that came up to me and made me feel really shy and silly because, you know, you greeted me with a hug. Sometimes a very, very tight hug. You know who you were on Saturday. Don't go, I love it. I really do love it. I'm joking. But that was a smothering hug. You absolute beauty. But yeah, it was so cool. And it's so great as well to sort of see these people and see them getting the recognition as well that they deserve. Either they release no music or other people going up to them and be like, oh my God, I love your band and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, these people rock. These fucking people rock. I have no kind of connection to Damnation from a press perspective, as I said already, or anything like that. But it's also really heartening from my perspective to sort of see just how well loved and respected the organisers, the people involved are. They've created something so cool, so special. And it's just, I'm unwrapping something while I'm saying this because it's just like, it's overwhelming. It makes me emotional. And it's just beautiful to sort of see something like this grow to where it's become one of the biggest festivals in the UK, indoor festivals as well in Europe, right? Something like that. I can't quite remember what it is, but you know, I'd always heard of Damnation. I was aware of it in the background. We decided to go to the last Leeds one because of reasons. And then when it first moved to Manchester, we weren't initially able to go, but now we went last year, and then we're like, we're going again. So we went this year, and you know, as of the time of this recording, we are definitely going next year because those tickets are booked and the hotel is booked. We're super excited for that as well because I know the lineup's going to be amazing too. Because the lineup's always one of the most fascinating things about Damnation. It is all over the place, and I am all in for it. Weirdly, the organisers, the bookers or booker, I'm not sure how many are involved in that, but Gavin, Seems to somehow share a shit ton of my taste, in particular his love of shoegaze and post and stuff like that. So that's what I'm kind of really happy about, guaranteeing certain bands might end up on the bill, even, well, depending upon availability and who's around. But yeah, what I'm seeing at the moment, based off this year, my favorite, was it my favorite? It's up there as my favorite. Up there. Last year had last year had so many great bands as well. But yeah, this year, very strong overall. Some bands, that weren't really there for me that I even ended up seeing and absolutely loving too, which is always great, isn't it? Excuse me. I'm doing this solo. And, I've got no one else to keep talking while I decide to take a nice old big drink of coffee. And I've got some water there as well. So yeah, Friday, we went up early. I told you about this. We went up early because we wanted to avoid the rush at Euston. And we wanted to kind of see a little bit of Manchester. Last time we were up there, we didn't. In fact, no, we were up Manchester a few years ago for a different festival and didn't really get to explore either. And this was like, okay, let's go up there Friday. We'll take it easy. Have a walk around, see what's going on. Just see what's going on, and then have some dinner and have an early night. And that's what we decided basically to do. We had a long walk, as I said, it was nearly 10 miles around, where we found a Christmas market that was kind of like newish, a bit early for Christmas, but it was still fun to wander around. We messed around in some arcades, did some bowling, had some dinner. It was very, very relaxing. It was very, very adult. We had one drink. We had one drink, which was we had when we were bowling, and that was it. And then we went and had dinner, had soft drinks with that, and afterwards we were coming out, and there was this cool looking bar, and we were like, should we go there and just have like one drink? And then we were like, you know what, no. We said we'd stick to this plan. Time-wise, we'd nailed what we were doing, so we went back, put some crap on the TV in the hotel room we stayed in. So yeah, the hotel room above a pub. Nice enough, cozy enough, that kind of thing, but it needed a little bit of needs a little bit of love, a little bit of tender care, needs a little bit of updating, and it was those kind of things where everything just felt a little bit, old or falling apart, that kind of thing. And it's a small thing, but man, oh man, I need a fucking headboard in my bed, man. Jesus, come on. But anyway, it was fine for the price and a good location, and other than that Friday, we really were only there to sleep in. So we generally had a sensible early night. Woke up Saturday feeling good. Went out and had some cafe breakfast. That was all right. And then, slowly made our way to Damnation. Getting the tram, thinking, normally we'd see more sort of metalers on the way. And then, as the tram goes along, more and more keep joining. And that's really, really cool. You start getting that vibe and that feel. Nice chill walk. Over to the BEC. If you don't know, you get off the tram at Parkway, and it is, 5-10 minutes, 10 minutes, I guess, really, because of crossing all the bloody roads. And then you're there. It was super. We got there and we thought, okay, there's a bit of a queue, but that queue moved so fast. It was lovely, by the look of it, to see the fact that doors opened at 11. Because I think it was about 4 or 5 minutes past 11, and we were walking up towards it, and we could see the queue moving, and we were like, okay, cool, it's open, and the queue was moving. That was very, very cool. Wristbands, super easy. We're in, and there we go. Getting into the site, obviously, from where you get your wristbands to then sort of getting to the actual site, it's literally 2 minutes, if even that. It's like a minute. Why am I saying 2? A minute. You walk around the corner, another corner. There's your first set of blue portaloos. And then there's all the food places and the sort of outdoor area around the back of where you can go into the venue. And yeah, lots of great choice of food. Across the weekend, ate a few different things and really enjoyed all of them. Big shout out to Big Mouth Gyoza, which served us great at Bloodstock and served us great here as well. Don't remember the name of it, but the one that was doing brownies sorted me out on Sunday, gave me a nice little sugar boost as well. What else did we have? I'm trying to remember. We had a snack on Saturday, which was the, what do they call them? Chinese food in a Thai food place, but like spring rolls. A couple of spring rolls that were quite big, a little overpriced for what they were, but quite big. But yeah, plenty of food opportunities, wide variety of food places. Didn't do anything too adventurous, I don't think. I'm trying to think if there was anything I've forgotten that I've eaten in a sort of, drunken blur. But no, I didn't eat too much while actually there. A lot of it was eating around it. And the biggest meal... Oh, no, I had a burger. I had a burger as well. A nice double bacon, double cheeseburger, actually, on Sunday evening. That was kind of like greasy ass burger with onions in it. But it was like proper good at the time, where it's just like, you just really want like that. I just want a cheeseburger, an old fashioned cheeseburger, like, and that's what it was. Really, and it was nice. I enjoyed that. What else? So yeah, but it's plenty of choice, of course. Probably could have done maybe with one more coffee place, because the main one was just like a queue for that was constantly really, really long. But people have said it was great, and I didn't actually get anything there, so I can't like attest for like if it was good or if the queue moved quickly. I didn't really hang around too much out there. What else am I forgetting? Nope, all of that seemed okay. Bars. So yeah, there was the main one outside the front with the snake-like queue, which ended up being way too long. So they set up the barrier so that it could be like 5 or 6 deep. But I swear, I never queued more than a handful of people deep for that one. Bar staff were fantastic, on the ball, quick and easy, friendly all weekend, particularly, in the cold and the wet. Although the cold, obviously, but, just changes the vibe and all of that. But yeah, it moved quickly. But actually ended up being quite annoying by the end, because you're walking, like, it's like the Shrek thing. We kept making a Shrek joke. With Shrek, that arrives at that town. I don't know the film very well, but he arrives at that town, and that person tries to run away, but he's running like through the rows, but Shrek just runs through the ropes. Except these are metal barriers, so the joke didn't quite work. But you kind of get the idea. But you're having to go, like, when there was no one in that queue ever. Like, I said to my wife, like, oh man, on Saturday, I said, oh, maybe on Sunday they'll cut it down to like maybe it's 2 or 3, but they didn't. I don't know, maybe there was other times where it was actually busy and warranted, but to me it felt unnecessary. What else we have out there? Obviously we had the toilets when I said on the way in. There were a couple of pink ones, for those who acquired them. At one end, they were next to where the private urinals were for the dudes. They got quite messy, but for the most part, didn't have any problems with that. Then you have the 2 big tent areas. The indoor seating area that was always busy. We managed to get a seat briefly in there on Sunday, just to put our feet down. But man, we were restless. We didn't even stay very long. But yeah, there was an indoor seating area that then connects to the merch tent. The merch tent's one of my favourite fucking places at Damnation. Just because I love that. I love that's how merch is done. I love the fact that you have all these tables set up, you have all these bands selling their merch. It rotates. Some move in, some stayed out all weekend. It is fabulous to see. It's a great opportunity, and it encourages you to keep coming back again and again and again. I must have gone into that fucking merch tent 100 times at a weekend. Okay, now that's probably an exaggeration. I must have gone to that merch tent though 30 times. I know I was in and out on it a lot. Each time just kind of thinking, okay, maybe this band isn't selling, and maybe it's an opportunity to meet them and stuff like that. I bought like Conjurer merch early in the day. I bought a hoodie and a hat. And then way later on Sunday night, I went back and was like, oh, there's a couple of Conjurer in there. Let me go and talk to them and buy another thing. That's why I bought the long sleeve, which I adore. God, that thing feels so great in my body. But yeah, great setup. I love it. It's something. It was what, like, that merch tent is what I'm telling you, is that most festivals, provided they can find the room, need to do. It's such a great idea. It's a great way for fans to interact with the bands. It's a great way for bands to sell more merch. I'm telling you, everyone would sell more fucking merch if you stood there yourself selling it at a festival. If you were there and say, this is where it is, and I have a table, and you can come and say hello to me, maybe sign something, and at the same time, here you go. So, like, I think you do a lot better. And Damnation have nailed that. Obviously, because of the weather on Sunday, it got a little messier in there because of people kind of trying to get out of the weather. And sometimes it was a bit like, look, you're all sort of standing around and chatting. Can you kind of bugger off so people can actually look at the tables? But it was also really cool to sort of see when new merch came out and to see the rush. It was a point. Amon-Ra, fucking hell. I came in and thought, fucking hell, what's going on in here? It was drizzling out, but I was like, this is crazy. And it's because Amon-Ra just bought the merch out. Amazing stuff to see. They must have done. I hope everybody did okay. We bought a few things. To say Conjurer got something from us, and Al Nakrath got, which on Saturday, the debate me and Lou had over this, because she basically wanted the poster. And the poster was free, 50 of them. But we were kind of like, is it a bit cheeky to be like, can I have the poster, the free one? And I was like, no, buy a t-shirt. You want a t-shirt as well, so buy a t-shirt and then get a poster. But I was like, that poster's like A1. You're going to have to carry that around for the rest of the evening. Oh, yeah, I'll carry it. No problem. Well, it's on you. I'm not carrying it. If you got bored of carrying it, and she fucking did. Give her credit. If you saw her walking around with her tote bag and that damn poster sticking out the back, that was her commitment on Saturday getting that poster. Dead Guy. I ended up buying something for Dead Guy. But I'll explain why when I get to the actual bands part of things. So yeah, amazing outside. I love just popping out and I love just being like, right, band's over, feel like I need a bit of fresh air, or I'm not feeling this band. You know what? Pop outside. Last year we did the upstairs part. What was it called? The very limited sort of VIP bar upgrade thing, the cantina thing, the Star Wars cantina. We did it last year, and we ended up thinking this year, and it is limited, of course, so there's no guarantee we'd have gotten, but we didn't even try this year, because we thought, look, did we really make use of it last year, and was it worth it? And we felt like, okay, we weren't, by a certain point, we ended up not even going up there to get drinks, because it felt like it was something that's taking longer than it was to get drinks downstairs. Often we'd go up there and find most of the seats full, because, you know, it's like a VIP area, so like a lot of people were just kind of holding up and not really moving. Which is not, I'm not complaining, but we ended up thinking like, okay, we didn't really make as much use of it last year, so let's not do it this year. On Sunday afternoon, I wish we had. To have just been able to go up there maybe and just sit down, or hopefully sit down if there were seats available, and just take half an hour out from everything in a corner, I would have killed for that. So if that's available next year, yeah, we'll see. I'll try. Not sit and go, well, why don't you apply for press? I didn't this year, but I did send an email. About a month ago, inquiring if there was like mailing lists or maybe like who I need to speak to potentially about next year and stuff like that. I never heard back, and that's fine. That's not a complaint. That's not me at all. This is how it goes, and I also remember our position in this grand scheme of things. We're nobodies, and that's fucking cool. But yeah, so like it's not about that. I'm more than happy. I think I've talked about it before, and I don't want to get off topic, but more than happy just to support festivals that I love and that I enjoy and experience from a fan's perspective. It's not always got to be about work. It's not always got to be about seeing if I can get anything free out of it. You should know me by now. That's not how we operate. I hate the idea of it, but I also think, well, Jesus Christ, if I really want to go to something, I'm not just going to wait for the possibility of an invite. You know, I haven't got much sway in the fucking music industry. I'm not going to fucking waste it on being a silly idiot like that. I love Damnation. I want to be at Damnation. So yeah, that's before you want, yeah, if you want to question that and like why not do that? Well, there's your answer. Would I say no if the opportunity came up? Of course not. I would love to do a little bit of work at Damnation. I really would. From an interview perspective and stuff like that, it would be very cool. But it's also fine. It's also totally fucking fine. You know, just like it's fine for Incineration Fest, a festival in London that I adore with all my heart and consider to be one of my favourite things on the yearly calendar. Just like I don't really want to work at Slam Dunk, because Slam Dunk is a family affair and we just all want to go and have some bloody fun. You know, just like next year. You know, I think I've said before, but I'll tell you now, just like I don't want to work Bloodstock next year. I've worked too many Bloodstocks in a row now. And this year was problematic for numerous reasons, but I realised that my heart wasn't as into it as it previously was, and I needed a break. So my plan is to not even like apply for press next year. Obviously, it doesn't mean I would have got it, but regardless of that, I'm just going to maybe enjoy a few things. It's not always fun. You know, feeling like you've got to do something, and like and even this, I don't have to do this by not, you know, asking for press access and being granted it. I've got I owe nobody nothing. Basically, I don't have to feel guilty about being slow. I don't feel bad that I can't really be bothered to write anything at the moment because I feel like shit. I don't have to worry about it outside of things, and that's a cool feeling sometimes, you know. I'm still gonna because I'm fucking addicted to this shit, but for now, it's kind of cool just to know, well, I'll do it on my own time, you know. I'll do it on my own time. I end up feeling like I want to get something up. That's why I'm doing this video. I wanted to get this video up. As much for those who watch the channel or care enough about the channel or want to hear what I've got to say about the weekend, you know. So that's why I'm doing this. Although I'm gonna sprinkle it throughout because I'm already at like 35 minutes. I'm going to sprinkle it about with some of the footage I took over some of the bands. I always tried to take like 2 to 3 minute long videos for like a certain song here and there. So I'm going to put that in there as well, so you can kind of get a vibe of where what I was seeing and what I was seeing. It's patchy because, you know, as drinks went on, that phone came out less and less. And then I didn't bring a battery pack with me. So on Saturday, like early evening, or no, late evening, it started to die. I think it was down to like 5%, so I had to be really careful with it. But yeah, where was I up to? Right, just went off on a tangent there again. So yeah, the outside was amazing. I really enjoyed it. I wish the weather had held off and been a bit kinder on Sunday so we all could have enjoyed it. But it is what it is. And at least it didn't rain like all day, and it wasn't torrential or anything like that. Inside, you know what it's like. We have 3 stages, of course, 2 smaller ones and 1 big one. The big one's right in front, can hold a hell of a lot of people. And certainly packed in some crowds. It really, really did. Small improvements this year that I noticed. The extra bit of seating they added to sort of in front of the disability accessibility platform. I thought that was a really clever idea. That was so clever. A handful of seats that were general access, and you could, you know, if you got one and you want to sit down for an hour, they were there. They were off to the side, so they weren't in the way. Up to a point, on Sunday, they clearly added a few more. But those started to be spread out a little bit more. And I think what was happening is people were moving those chairs a little further out. Because we noticed, I think, later in the evening, we noticed they were a little bit more encroaching. And what was now happening was a funnel had been created on that side. Now, we always go to the right side of the stage. If we're facing the stage, we always go to the right side of it. That's our choice, because then it avoids like the crowds coming out from the smaller stages over to the... they haven't got... The names vary, don't they? So I can't... It would have been... What would it have been? It would have been the Eyesore merch stage on Saturday. And it was the same... It was Eyesore merch stage, was it? I thought it changed. No, it definitely changed. This list might be wrong, but it definitely changed. But that one, the one that had the likes of Ghost and Meryl Streep and Coil Guns and all of that on it. That one, obviously, crowds didn't come out the back of there and straight into the main. And so we've always tried to avoid that, to go around the right. And we've often got great positions because of that. But yeah, definitely noticed those chairs started to come out a little more. But I don't think it was that big of a deal. And I thought it was a cool, smart idea. At the back, obviously, the stalls are good. Didn't really do too much at them. Had a brief look. The bars at the back, always brilliant. Great service, quick and easy. No complaints there at all. Didn't use the bar in the middle stage, the one that had like Devastator and Gary on. Didn't use that one there because it was all the way over the side. Even aspects that I found irritating last year weren't as irritating this year. So obviously that stage has steps down, like 2 steps down, and people will have a habit of standing on those steps. Now, same thing happens, like again, because that leads out to a sort of lobby area. We've got toilets, the main way in and out, and access to like all different areas of the festival. People come along, see that sort of wall of people standing at the top step because it's a good view. You've not gone down to a lower floor, and basically think, oh, it's packed, I can't go down, and then just stand there. And that area starts to fill out more and more and more. But if you kind of like can get past that wall, most people are okay. I saw a few people being a little pissy when you're kind of like, come on, excuse me. Like, you can't create a fucking impenetrable wall for people who want to leave or want to go down to the floor, particularly when the floor is 3/4 full. There were a couple of times where I was like, shit, it's packed. Came up to that thing and thought, no, fuck that. I can get down there. There's loads of room. Particularly go down to the left or to the right and you're nearly at the front of the stage. I don't really think there's a way around it. I don't think it's anything that also they need to police. It seems to be self-policing. And I always enjoyed my time at that stage. I had some of the strongest sound of the weekend, which, talking of sound, I think mostly it was pretty good. There was early on with Devastator on the Saturday. I thought it was quite muddy to begin with, but I cleaned up after the first song. If there were sound issues, it was probably the main stage overall. It was mixed. Sometimes there was a couple of times where it was like, oh shit, all I'm getting is bass and drums. Other times, and there's like no sound of the guitar. Other times it's like, okay, vocals are really sharp. It all really depended on the band. Sometimes it depended on the position. There were a couple of times where we stood a little further back and we got some really good sound. Dug the screens. Right, the bands that made use of those big ass screens, wall screens, were excellent. I love the fact that there was an opportunity to really create some cool looking visuals. And from like a show wise, that nobody put on anything like crazy spectacular pyro and stuff like that, but like mostly everybody delivered and something that was watchable, like from a a visual perspective. There are a couple of bands I think could have really benefited from a little bit of fire here and there, but like limitations of where they are, of course, as well, and it's costly. So can't get too mad about that, can we really? But no, like its location and how set up, I fucking love it. Don't you love the fact that like you need a drink, you can get one really quickly. The variety in toilets, the toilets inside are obviously absurdly small and tiny, and you can't fit anyone really in them. But don't worry about it. Go outside where the portaloos are. I very rarely, except for when it was early in the day, use the indoor toilets. Just walk out and round. It takes you like a minute to the blue ones. I queued at most a couple of people deep sometimes, and it moved so quickly, and they were always clean. There was the pile of vomit I mentioned earlier on nearby, but that was by the by. There was, even like inside, by the time you get to Sunday, there was a little bit of graffiti, some of it not very nice because people are the absolute worst. Speaking of which, I don't want to really go into depth in this, but we saw something that shocked us on Saturday, coming out of a Christmas market in Manchester. Shocked us. Double take shocked us. And then had to triple take because then we saw that person's protection. This person was wearing a sign that was very derogatory to a certain group of people who really don't need to be slapped down any more than they've been slapped down. And I couldn't believe it. Like, I double take because it was designed to not look like that. It was designed to look like something else until you read it. And you're like, you little fuck. How fucking dare you? Christmas market, standing outside it. Oh, God. And then I noticed, I spotted them. I said to Lou, oh, look, there's the heavies. 4 dudes sort of standing nearby, but not so much. And they spotted us staring. And it was like, okay, so you go over there and even try and say, yeah, you can see where it's going. It's like, well, but honestly, fuck that, dude, fuck that. We talked about that for like the next half an hour. It really fucking bothered us. So that, those people exist in life. And I'm not going into any more detail. If you really want to know what it's about, you can always message me and I might tell you a little bit more about it. But like, fuck that dude, fuck those people. That's it. Fuck them, and I hope something bad happens to them because there was absolutely no need to behave that way and to do such a horrible thing in such a welcoming, lovely environment, which Manchester really fucking is. It has its problems like any city, homelessness and whatever other issues, drugs, alcohol, that nonsense. But that city, I come from fucking London. Are you kidding me? Like, yeah, but like I really like that city, and it's not the city's fault, and I imagine most people are very welcome and accepting, but it was a proper. I'd never seen anything like that in real life. I know that sounds stupid, but like I'd never seen anything like that blatant and that aggressive in real life, because that's what it was. Really, really aggressive. But yeah, like so there was some like some nasty graffiti in one of the blue toilets on a sort of weekend. But like, fuck that person, and like hopefully they got their nose busted open in a pit or anything like that. And that's karma for you. But yeah, from what I gather, I didn't go into any pits. From what I gather, mostly everybody says it was all safe. Nobody seems to have been badly hurt. I didn't see anyone in any particular trouble. I see plenty of drunk people, but it's a fucking damnation. Some of those people, I think it was like Saturday, and it was like, God, it was like 11:30. No, it was 11:15, 12. We walked around the merch tent quite early on, and there was some dude there with a 2-pint of, and we were just like, how the fuck? If that was you, dude, credit to, right? Like, incredible. But it's up. It's so fucking glorious. I love it. And it's why I got to see so many bands. It's why I was able to see bits of several bands rather than like one, like necessarily full set all the time. It was probably the most bouncy I've ever been at a festival to a degree. Yeah, where I was like, all right, I'm going to go see this band, but I'm going to watch like 15 minutes of them and then go see another one and so on. And that's what I'm going to talk about now, because we are like 45 minutes into this video and I keep just rambling on. So yeah, let's talk some bands. How did I start off on the Saturday? Went to the Holy Goat Brewing stage and I watched a bit of Devastator, about half of Devastator. As I said, muddy at the start, but it really improved. They're a cool band and it was headbanging gold. They brought in big crowd. having fun. But I ended up again leaving them to go watch a little bit of Aurochs over on the smaller stage. Didn't really know much about them before, and they were never on my plans, but it was like, let's try and do a bit of both. And didn't stay to the end of that. Maybe only did, I think I did like 2 songs of theirs, because I then wanted to get a decent spot for Overhead at the Albatross on the main stage. And they were fabulous. They really, really were fabulous. Really emotional stuff, powerful, poignant, sounded great, looked like they belong up there as one of the best bands of the weekend. A band, you know, that it's Carl fodder. You know I'm going to love it because of the style and who they are and what they offer. And I thought they did a fabulous, fabulous job. Love to see them come back again in the future. What did I do next? Watched a little bit of Necrop from a distance, nothing particularly there to add there. Before the wife was like, yeah, let's go see Castle Rat. I'm not massive on Castle Rat. It's the reality of it. But I was like, you know what? It's early in the day. I haven't really got any plans. Let's go watch a bit of Castle Rat and see how it does. I lasted 2 songs. Well, I decided to nap. You know what? I'm going to leave you. You enjoy it. I don't want to be standing there being all like, ugh. It's just not really what I want at festival. It's not really what I'm kind of into. And yeah, so I walked away. Watched, as I say, up the I think during the second song I went, nah, this worked for me. You have fun though, and I ended up just going outside and sort of looking around and hanging about and stuff like that. We weren't too sure what we were going to do then, so we ended up taking a punt on Dead Guy. I think we'd got drinks, I think we'd chatted to a few people, and we're like, all right, let's see if we can get him for Dead Guy. Found that we could get him for Dead Guy, and had an absolute blast. Generally, this is why I bought merch. They were so fucking good, had so much fun, really, really sounded like they were having a blast up there. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Easily one of the highlights of the weekend for me. And a great bucket list band kind of to tick off, because I realised I was like, oh, I've never seen it before, and I don't even know if I've called myself a fan, but hell, let's check it out. And we stayed, did the whole thing, absolutely loved it that much. From that, slowly wandered over to watch a little bit of Mesa. Because this was a section where I wasn't really feeling a lot, it was a constant like moving around where it's like they seemed fine, but because I wasn't really into watching another band, so straight off the Dead Guy, we ended up buying the merch, as we said before, and then just hanging around as well before going to check out a bit of Portrayal of Guilt. It was fine to begin with, but then it started to get quite samey, so I ended up kind of not really feeling that either. And because Orbit Culture were coming up and they were like a big deal for me, I'm like, right, let's leave early. I think we might have even got something to eat then. Let's get some food, refresh the pint, and then get over for Orbit Culture, who I loved as well. I think I got this one wrong. I thought they were going to pull in one of the biggest crowds of the weekend. I thought it was going to be fucking huge there, and it wasn't. It was busy, of course it was. All bands got decent crowds, but it was not as busy as I thought. And likewise, I thought they were going to sound a lot bigger, but I actually think the Cavernous Hall didn't help them as much as perhaps if they'd been on a smaller stage. I really did like them. I thought they were great, but it just wasn't as good as I'd maybe hoped. What do we do next? A lot of bouncing around in anticipation of Death Heaven. Watched a bit of High on Fire, always cool. Watched a bit of Ghost as well, always cool. Thought about doing a bit of Ghost and Panzerfaust, but I think Panzerfaust was rammed, at least from what I could see, and I didn't really fancy trying to fight my way through the crowd at that stage. All anticipation for Death Heaven. It was staggering. It was stunning. I absolutely love this band. It was a bit of a funny one because I'm going to see them soon at the Electric Ballroom, and that is going to be a dream. It's a dream gig. It's not my first time seeing Death Heaven either, but it's been a while. But yeah, it was like, okay, let's see what the precursor, the taster is like at Damnation, and I fucking loved them. I thought they were fabulous. Really, really powerful stuff. They sound great. I love Death Heaven. Another highlight for me. What else? Oh, right, we were gonna watch some Wormrot, and we did a little bit from the back, but fuck me, did Damnation turn up for Wormrot. And from what I gather, what other people are saying, they were as good as they sounded all the way at the back. What you gonna do? So we ended up wandering over to see EF, a band I literally knew nothing about, and I walked into that stage thing, and I was like, okay, it's kind of quieter in here, that's cool. And the wall of sound that just hit me, and I was like, oh my god, we made a mistake not coming here. And we ended up staying for like up until pretty much the entirety of the end of the set, and it was stunning. What a stunning band. That was absolutely beautiful. Perturbator. We watched some Perturbator from the back. We started on the right. Sorry, we started up near the front of the right, so we got some good views, and then we kind of moved our way to the back as it went on. Sounded cool, looked as cool. It's Perturbator. It's a band I like Perturbator. I just knew I wasn't going to be able to do the whole set of this kind of thing. I know some people absolutely love it, but for me it's thoroughly enjoyable, just not to like too much of it. So Didn't do all of it, but then went back over to watch Garia. Did do all of Garia. In fact, it was the last full band. As I said, someone was a little bit missing. I know the band's in an interesting place at the moment where you can really tell the difference between now and then, the then of Gary and the now of Gary. They definitely are focused on the now, obviously, but with that comes a bit of a, oh wow, like, okay, you're really like leaning into more the melodic stuff and all of that, but it's still thoroughly enjoyable, particularly with the black metal fire and the energy they bring and the excitability and of what they look like on stage and how they perform. As I said, it would have been cool, fire production. I really want this from this band. And obviously, limitations of the festival and the stages and all of that, and the band adapt themselves because they probably can't necessarily afford, big ass production and fire and stuff like that. Maybe they will further down the line, but right now, yeah, it was still great. It really, really was. They're a great band. They look and sounded amazing. One of the best sounds on that stage for me personally. By that point, we were basically pretty much fucking done. We were like, no, Corrosion of Conformity have started. We are here. We are going to go watch a bit of Corrosion of Conformity. So we headed over to the main stage to watch a bit of Corrosion of Conformity. And it was obvious. Things weren't going their way. Now, I've heard conflicting things about different people about why this maybe didn't work as well, or why, like, nobody was there. That's the absurdity of it. But it was not. This was not what a headliner should be, of their size, should be getting. It was very reminiscent of Cradle last year. Maybe better, a little bit better than that, but it was not busy in there. And I think there's a lot of reasons. I think Corrosion of Conformity, for starters, is a niche band, just like everything else. You can say, oh, legendary band and all of that, but also like they stuck to slower music. When we ended up feeling a bit like it was very lethargic. And when you're already quite tired, and you've had a skinful, and you're thinking about like, yeah, look, let's maybe make a move, like. A band, a headliner playing lethargic tunes that you probably heard way too many times. It's not really going to be what most people are going to stay for. And I think that's what was happening. And I think it was a lot of people going out as well, like outside, just to sort of see people before things wrapped up. Remember, a lot of people have been there just for the day. So I don't think that helped Corrosion at all. We did a couple of songs and we're like, you know what, should we call this? Yeah, let's call it. So we sort of staggered our way back home, back to the hotel room. Vague recollection of getting back. We got back safely, clearly, all ready to do it again on Sunday. Well, this was the challenge, as I said. It was a bit more tired, a little bit more lethargic, a little lacking in energy, but still saw plenty of bands. Started the morning off with Hidden Mothers. I mean, they're simply fantastic. And it was brilliant to see so many people come out for them too. On a personal thing, like, I could have done something with a bit more energy for Sunday to begin with. That's not a reflection on Hidden Mothers, a reflection on me. They were spectacular and it did fly by. But part of me was a little bit like, oh, should I have done Ted Moore? I've seen Hidden Mothers before and I will again in the future. But Ted Moore aren't a band I see often. But I still thoroughly enjoyed Hidden Mothers. And so did many other people. And that was great to see. Talking about big crowds down. I started this whole video off with that little bit of lyrical content from the poem. Conjurer. pulling in a huge crowd and delivering an absolutely spectacular set. One of my favourite of the entire weekend. Absolutely loved it. They were so cool. After that, it was like, right, what the hell is going on? And this is right roughly around off the Conjurer. I was sort of thinking, okay, do I need to have a rest? Do I need to really have a rest? So missed the start of Dinner Celestial Birds, but headed over there to find a stage packed, to watch a little bit from the back, and then thought, you know what? I've seen them better than it, like better positions than this. It might have been easier to get to the front, but I didn't fancy kind of fighting my way through the crowd. It's like, right, maybe I'm going to go over and see what's going on with Code. Let me just go see. I don't really know this band, but I didn't dig what Code were doing, I'm afraid. Ended up heading over to Onslaught. The idea was to go see Onslaught, who were good. They were good. Yeah, nothing really to kind of get too excited about, but nothing to complain about either. And then we thought, okay, let's get there nice and early for Stamping Ground, because we were convinced this was going to get packed. Holy fuck, did it get packed. So much so that I ended up feeling a little uncomfortable and thought, you know what? If I'm not vibing with this and I'm more conscious about the fact that I'm getting more and more hemmed in here and I don't like this, I'm going to go see what Coil Guns are doing. Because I really like Coil Guns and I've always enjoyed seeing them play live. So I watched a couple of songs of Stamping Ground and I know they were spectacular. I know that. I get that. But I went over to watch Coil Guns to find the stage. You know, all right, but not. I didn't have trouble getting close. And I saw what I think is the set of the weekend. I watched what I thought was the set of the weekend. They were spectacular. This is pure energy, pure mania, chaos in oral form. It was so much fun to watch. Frontman is a lunatic. Just brilliant music. So much fun. I think I went out to use the toilet for a brief bit and then came back. And as I was coming back over, I ran into my wife who had left Stamping Ground now as well and watched the end of Coil Guns with me and had a blast too. For me, band of the weekend, truly, truly special. From that, we went and watched Primordial. Yeah, so Coil Guns were one of the ones I mentioned earlier on who really kind of gave me that boost to kind of carry on. And then we went and watched Primordial, who were fucking brilliant as well. I mean, it's Primordial. I don't really think Primordial are ever bad, but even still, this was special. Absolutely love Primordial. We ended up taking a bit of a break then. We ummed and ahed about watching Raging Speedhorn, but again, pulling a big busy crowd, so we ended up chilling out and then watching some Pig Destroyer. look, I'm not that big of a fan compared to others, but I know people love this band. So we ended up watching it basically from quite a far away. Sounded great. Probably did about half the set before we decided to head off and get ourselves ready for Hell Ripper. And this was the boost I needed. Fucking Hell Ripper. What? Almost up there as one of the bands of the weekend as well. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Best I've ever seen them. Absolutely loved Hell Ripper. To then be followed by Anal Nakrath. And we got really close for Anal, and holy shit, they were brilliant. Again, one of my favourite times seeing them. That little section there of Primordial, Hell Ripper, and Nakrath, Core Guns, that section of Sunday, which, considering, like I said, how rough I was feeling on Sunday, I ended up having like 4 of my favourite bands over the weekend. Truly, truly special. Absolutely love that. We took a break then. I think we were going to watch a bit of Nordic Giants, but for whatever reason never got there. But then ended up watching The Haunted. Big band for my wife, of course for me. A chance to see a band that's quite legendary. But I got bored. That's the truth of the matter. I got about halfway through and thought, I'm not really feeling this. So I was like, look, you chill. I'm going to go outside and get some air. And basically, that's what we did. Anyway, we were kind of exhausted at this point. So we had a little chat, had a little walk around, went back into the merch, had a bit something to eat. And then we were like, okay, are we going to stay for Amon-Ra? We were thinking about it, but we did just see, is our justification. We saw Amon-Ra play the Roundhouse earlier this year at Desert Fest, and it was spectacular. And we were like, you know what? Rather than being like super tired and basically just clock watching, should we just call it? And that's what we did. We're like, you know what, let's head back, get some rest, get some food, and left the festival early. We wouldn't have stayed on Amon-Ra anyway. As much as I would have liked to see a bit of Ouija Dude and Napalm Death, it would have been getting so late, and we weren't going to. We were like, we hadn't really thought about it up to a certain point. But like, oh, well, it's Sunday, right? Presumably the trams end early on a Sunday, similar to like the tube and stuff like that. So we wouldn't have stayed anyway. But yeah, we ended up just thinking we were just so tired, our feet so sore, our legs just so heavy. Let's just not do Amon-Ra. I know we missed out. I know they're a spectacular band, and I like them as much as you. But yeah, what are you going to do? But we left that festival super satisfied, super happy, and just super grateful for all the great bands we saw, because you kind of hope in these scenarios you want to see one or two great bands, but to see as many as we did, and some of it is really going to stay with me. That is, as I said, Coil Guns I've seen before, but never that fucking good. And now Nakraf, never that fucking good. Conjurer, just because I've got longer sets and I'm expecting Wednesday, tomorrow, to be even better, but goddamn, that was incredible. Hellripper, incredible. Overhead the Albatross, in fucking credible. Dead Guy, in fucking credible. Death Heaven, fan-bloody-tastic. Garia, fantastic. Oh, Orbit Culture, great. Honestly, great fucking bands doing great things at a great fucking festival. And as much as we can praise like the organizers and all of that who do an incredible job putting this thing on, you as well, like us, when I say you I mean us, like as in all of us who turn up, get involved, have a great time, aren't kicking off, fighting, throwing pints around and being dickheads, and just there having fun, reuniting people, headbanging, going wild for all these incredible bands. That's what makes Damnation so damn special. And it was special. It always is, but it was special again this year. Look at that. I think I'm about to hit an hour. Which won't actually be an hour for you, because I'll have been inserting lots of fucking little videos in. But from my perspective, I've just been talking for 1 hour straight. 60 minutes and 5 seconds. In fact, that seems like a good enough time to wrap it up. That is my summation of Damnation. Yeah, I'm all over the place. What are you going to fucking do? That's what you're here for. If you want like the whole like proper like, oh, let's sit down with visuals and spectacular graphics, go somewhere else. I had a blast talking about it, just like I had a blast there, and I will see you there next year. Hopefully I'll see you before then, because we got a lot more going on. Yeah, but hell yeah, Damnation 2026. Are you excited? Because I bloody am. But you know what, let me know about your Damnation 2025 experience. Did you have as good time as I did? Did you suffer the way I did on that Sunday afternoon? Who are the best bands you saw? Let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. It does help us out. You can find us at gbhbl.com and across all social media platforms. And if you really want to give us a bit of extra support, please consider buying us a cup of coffee over on our coffee page. Thank you.